Hi guys, welcome back to Icewater Yoga. My name is Amanda, and today we're doing a meditation on failure. Meditation on failure. Failure is one of those funny things, right? Like we absolutely dread it. When it happens, we beat ourselves up over it, and then we get stuck in that like mucky, frustrated energy, which then in turn keeps us really stuck and frustrated. So then we get ourselves into more frustrating situations. And so it becomes this like wild hamster wheel that actually can be avoided when we start to readjust the way that we look at failure. And so that's what this meditation does. It will help us to, instead of looking at failure as this like awful thing that I want to avoid at all costs, which, spoiler alert, we're all going to fail like a million times in our lives. So what if instead we focused on it as this cool learning opportunity that maybe can make us better in some way? Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to lay down for this meditation. You can choose to sit up. You might even sit in a chair. Just do whatever's going to feel good for you. And anything that will help you not fidget, right? So it becomes way less about the physical body and more just about focusing on how we're breathing. And so we minimize the distractions. Good. And so I'm going to take my hands and place them almost like in a diamond shape right above my belly button. Right? And so as you breathe, you'll feel your palms start to rise and fall with the flow of your breath. And with the eyes closed, you just give yourself a little space to get familiar with that rise and that fall of your breath. And just allowing the body to get still. So still, in fact, that it's almost like it could just melt. Just melt away. So the only thing to attach to connect to right now is the quality of how you're breathing. And as you start to drop a little bit deeper into that awareness of breath quality, breath length, allow it to just become very natural and rhythmic, very soothing. And in your mind's eye, begin to call to a time in your life when you failed. Time in your life when you failed, but as you call this moment to mind, be very conscious of all of the other stuff that surrounds it. So in other words, when you think about this moment, did you also start to beat yourself up? Did you also begin to attach sensations like heaviness in the heart or pit in the low belly? Did any of those extras come along with thinking about this failure? And that's okay if they did. Can you begin to let that go? Let all of that negative self-talk, any sensations that come up in the body, allow them to fade and truly begin to look very objectively at this failure. And so, in order to move through a failure, before we even dig into any meaning, the first step is very simple. It's to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, forgive others, forgive the situation. So in order to forgive, we have to accept a failure as a reality. So as you breathe, maybe you explore what it means to accept this failure. Accept that it happened. And depersonalize, detach from any of those extras. And so when you strip away all of the stories and you just look at this failure as something that happened, and it was just a moment in time, in that space, you can start to forgive. So with every breath in, almost imagine you're drawing in any of the negative phrasing you've used, any of the bad thoughts you've attached to this failure. You pull that in on your inhales. And you release all of that stuff on your exhales. And so every inhale gets a little lighter. Every exhale gets a little bit more freeing. As you use a breath as a tool to move past, to forgive the failure, to forgive yourself. And can you send yourself so much compassion in this moment? Very rarely do we stop to remind ourselves that we're doing the absolute best that we can in any given moment. So can you dig back into some compassion for yourself, that you're doing so much and you're doing it so well, and that failure is so okay if you change your relationship to it. And so that's what we do next. Because our relationship with failure is only ever meant to teach us something. Failure is not presented in our lives just to screw with us. It is truly the biggest teacher that we're given. So when you think about this failure, what did you learn? Allow yourself some space to think about that answer. What did you learn? Sometimes the answer is very obvious and clear. And sometimes it's a small moment. It might not be wildly profound, but in that simplicity, there's also a little beauty. Right? So what did you learn? And then once those answers have come up for you, can you feel into real gratitude? Which is a crazy concept. Can you be thankful for what the failure taught you, or maybe a byproduct of the failure? So sometimes a failure can bring you closer to groups of people. Sometimes a failure in hindsight created a new opportunity. And so maybe if you can't see the learning just yet, you show some advanced gratitude. Really believing, feeling into the fact that nothing bad is placed in front of you for no reason. There's always a reason. There's always learning. Can you find some gratitude for the learning? And then lastly, draw your awareness back to yourself in that moment of failure. And whatever words it was that you needed to hear, right? Whether it was, I'm proud of you, or you did the best that you could, or there's a new opportunity around the corner, whatever the words are or were that you needed to hear. Can you send those words to yourself now? Can you offer that internal support? And then slowly begin to deepen the breath. Longer, deeper, fuller inhales, longer, deeper, fuller exhales. And on your next inhale, take the biggest breath in you have ever taken. Hold the breath at the top of your head. Pause in this fullness for 3, 2, 1. Big exhale, open the mouth, let it go. And start to blink the eyes open and find your way to a comfortable seat. And so that is it. That is it. Reframing failure, looking at it as not a bad thing, but just as a teacher, right? And when you start to approach it as that, you actually wind up fearing failure less. And that lack of fear actually sometimes shows up as more success, which is interesting and I don't think coincidental. So anyway, guys, I hope that was valuable for you. And if you have any questions, you can always come find me on the internet. Okay? So again, my name is Amanda, and I will catch you again next time on Icewater Yoga. Have a great day.